Good morning, everybody. Sending love. Hope everybody's doing well. So, part two on my just previous video about the young lady that I talked to about her being bored and lonely. Well, so like I was saying in my previous video, I had her doing a lot of scratching in her head and a lot of contemplating and a lot of thinking, and she did get into a very deep realm of thought and so forth. And once again, I kind of had to uh, uh, make some gesture to let her know that I was still present and to bring her back to reality, right? Because I legitimately put her into a almost a awake comatose of thought. Like I said, I've been doing this a lot lately, um, helping people open their minds, right? Helping people to get outside their self and start realizing what's really important, right? Instead of just wanting to bump uglies with some complete stranger that you've never met, you don't know anything about, the whole bored and lonely, using that thing against somebody, right? But there's that again. But I got her to open her mind, right? I got her to reevaluate the situation that was in front of her. And we had a good conversation after I brought her back to reality and after I got her out of daydreaming. After I got her out of her comatose that I put her in, which I apologized about that and so forth. That wasn't what my intentions were going towards, but because I knew where her mind was at, and that's right. You know, um, she was a pretty woman. She was, right? I mean, anybody else would have just went to the bedroom and knocked that out. But unfortunately, my mindset is not there. I'm in my 40s, right? Like, let's be real. You know, if I'm just gonna go jump into a bed with a total stranger, is it gonna be fulfilling? No, right? I mean, me, I wanted to have the conversation with her. I wanted to help her through whatever it was she was going through. She was bored and lonely. So hey, instead of going and jumping into bed with a complete stranger, I seen it as an opportunity to have an adult conversation with another person on mutual respect, and that's where it went. We started laughing. We started having a good time. She kind of was sharing some of her life. I kind of was sharing some of mine. So it went from just wanting to sleep together to actually having a fulfilling and open minded conversation with another person. And apparently, this has been happening a lot with this guy, right? But I'm not in that mindset, right? Like, I just, it's never been me. It never has, right? Never. Now, I know that the universe is probably opening doors, and I understand that he's trying to say, "Hey, you haven't had women affection in a while," but it, when you're trying to act mature and when you're trying to act to adult, there are things that you would rather do than to do that, right? So I found out in the conversation that that's not really what she was looking for. She was lost and she needed some direction. So, okay. But she did kind of say that she found me very attractive and she was wanting to at least get to know me better and so forth. But uh, uh, vulnerability, right? I mean, if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. Damn, it's a crazy thing, but but uh, uh but we had a great conversation, and she was a lovely woman. She was successful, um, doing really well for herself, and I was really surprised that she hadn't been having a lot more uh, time with men because she good lord. Um, I was having a conversation with her, and I was intrigued by her, but it just wasn't This wasn't the direction of the conversation. The energy that I was getting off of her. That's why I went the direction I was going. but so it was kind of she was kind of putting off a mixture of energy. She was chaotic, right? That's when you know that you need to be more mature about it and go in a different direction than just what the ego or the lustful side of you wants to go, right? Being mature, knowing the direction of the path that you want to go. There it is. We ended up talking most of the night. We ended up talking for I don't even know how long. But the end of the conversation before we parted ways and all that, um, it didn't even get to asking for a number. It didn't even get to wanting to do a second thing. So it must have been one of those 5 minute conversations, and that's it. But the end of the conversation is I got her to understand that, hey, yeah, since she's lonely and she's bored, uh, instead of worrying about the lustful and the more unfulfilling things of life, I got her to think about the things that will actually move her forward in life. Those projects that she's been holding back on, those things that she's been wanting to do that because of distractions or things that weren't good for her, if you will, um, she didn't want to do, didn't acknowledge doing, didn't think that it was going to be a good time, whatever, right? Whatever you want to come up with. Um, but it turned out to be more of a situation to where I helped her than it was anything else. And that was my goal. That was my intentions to begin with. Helping people has always been something that I've been in on, right? I kind of think of it as an act of service, kind of thing, right? Um, I've never been just one to just give in to the lustful side of me or to give in to things that aren't going to be meaningful, but more rather the things that are going to be meaningful, right? If I can have a conversation with somebody, absolutely any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Um, Self discovery. It's a huge thing. And I understand that there is so much out here that we can get involved in. We can invest in AI and all this other foolishness, right? We all know that that is short-term gain. There's nothing that's going to come out of that. I know some people are mind-fested on that and so forth and whatever, but not this guy, right? I know that truth. But 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 actual projects, actual things, actual learning, actual growth, not just things that are going to invest and make you money, but things that are going to actually help you grow mentally, right? Spiritually, psychologically, right? If you don't like your body because you have some weight or something or whatever, take yourself to a gym and start working on that problem, right? If your health is starting to deteriorate, figure out ways that you can get your health better. If your eating habits are crappy, right? That would be a time to make things happen in your life if you've fallen in on a bored and lonely time, right? But I think enough on that. I hope you're having a great day, everybody. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Love and light. Until next time.